poor release gets caught up in the streets again. Tommy finds out you better not cross the wrong boss. And who's back? Chin is back. And yeah, your boy Columbo expresses himself and they bomb Malcolm's house. This is the episode 9 recap of The Godfather of Harlem. And again, family, if you found me for the first time, definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as we break down episode 9. And again, this is a great show. So the name of this episode is We Are All Kings, and it reads, Chin Gigante is released from prison and seeks to excise Joe Columbo from the commission. Malcolm's mission to form a coalition of civil rights leaders is interrupted when his house is attacked, and Chin discovers who put a hit out on his daughter. All right, so here we go. We see that Joe Columbo is sitting down with the commission, and his mission is to make sure that Chin is out of the commission. He wants Chin gone. He's controlling all the doogie that's coming in. You remember what he did as far as getting Bumpy out of the game. And they're saying that it's very complicated, but he wants their backing or he's going to take away all of their profits and all of everything. And of course, Tommy flip-flop. Tommy's like, okay, I'm with it. He's open for it because, you know, Columbo has that stuff over his head as far as Tommy putting the hit out on Stella, and that Tommy slept with Chin's wife. So they all agree to get Chin out of the commission. He'll still get his cut, but he'll be out of the commission. So here we are. We're at the prison. The guards are opening up the door, talking about, come on, let's go. Who's there? Olympia, Gigante, and the lawyer. And they're waving hi to who? That's right, Chin. Chin is back. He is released from prison. And to find out it was from a technicality from the federal government. And they messed up, so they had to release Chin. He's happy to be out. And yeah, here we go. So now Malcolm is traveling all across the country from state to state. And he's not spreading a message of violence. What he's trying to do is he's trying to bring all the civil rights leaders and all the people who are backing everyone to join his movement of a non-violent movement. Ever since he went to Mecca, that's right, his mindset has changed. And now he's trying to bring everybody together again for civil rights for black people. So now we're in Selma, Alabama, and he's making a speech out there, and he's talking about the field Negro and the house Negro, and how, you know, the field Negro was out in the field living in huts and everything, while the house Negro was in the house. And he'd rather be a field Negro than a house Negro fighting for the civil rights of everyone, right? So he's talking to a group of individuals, a group that's down with Martin Luther King, and he says he hopes that his radical, you know, rhetoric doesn't scare them away. Of course, they are there to hear his speech, and they, you know, absolutely love his speech. Who shows up? Andrew Young shows up. Now, for those who don't know who Andrew Young is, Andrew Young was the aide and strategist to all the marches, the March on Washington, and he's still alive today. He became an ambassador for the UN. Also, he was with the House of Representatives. So this is Andrew Young. Of course, Malcolm recognizes him and says, hey, how you doing? And he's saying that he wants Malcolm to come see Martin because Martin Luther King is in jail still. Malcolm says he can't do it right now. He has to get back to Harlem, but definitely send his regards. Andrew Young says, listen, which one do you think Martin is? A house Negro or a field Negro? And Malcolm says, hey, listen, I believe if the master's house was on fire, Martin would be standing right by Malcolm's side, waiting for a strong wind to make sure that house burned down. So now we're back in Harlem. We see that Mamie and your boy Bumpy are having breakfast. And yeah, they're talking a little frisky, like, yeah, they about to jump back into bed and get busy. Here comes Elise with the newspaper. And she says, hey, did you see the headlines? Yeah, they actually found a bazooka across from the UN. So, of course, Bumpy's like, listen, I was right. Tell your boy Malcolm, because Malcolm doesn't want to have anything to do with me. Can you get us a sit down so we could talk? And she's like, yeah, that's possible. Maybe I can do it, you know. And they're talking about how, you know, they want Elise to talk sense into him to stop doing his speeches because he's going across the country and his life is in danger. So they're really concerned about Malcolm. And she's like, I don't think he's going to stop. You know, I think he's just going to continue with the mission. So he's like, listen, can you get me a sit down with him? Can you do that? And she's like, I could possibly do that, for exchange for this toast right here. So she steals his toast and he's like, nah, you can get your own. Of course, she's going to set it up so they can have a sit down. Here we go with Chen's welcome home party, right? So you got Olympia, you got his brother, the priest, and you got the lawyer there. She's trying to feed him more food. He's like, listen, I'm full. He throws the, food away on the floor. And he's like, where is my daughter? Oh, well, we invited her. She didn't come, He's like, what? She didn't come? What are you talking about? Where's my daughter? And they're trying to distract them. The lawyer's saying, hey, she doesn't matter right now. Don't worry about her. And of course, Chen is like, what you mean don't worry about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my daughter. I'm asking where my daughter is. They're talking about other things and trying to distract them, say, hey, just have a good time. This is your party. And, Olympia's like, hey, she doesn't matter. So, of course, the lawyer's trying to distract him, say, hey, you know what? Thank God, the federal government messed up and they messed up the case. Now you're free. That's what it's all about. He gets up and gets mad, pushes the lawyer and says, if you don't tell me where my daughter is right now, I'm going to take this thing and whack you, right? So here comes Malcolm. It is Valentine's Day, and Malcolm has a dozen of roses for his wife, Betty. And of course, Omar's like, oh, you got roses? He's like, oh, okay, I got something for Elise. And Malcolm's like, you trying to show me up, brother? And so, they joke. So Omar's about to leave. He says everything is good. He's going off post, and another brother's going to take over. Malcolm goes in the house, sees Betty, and she is so surprised to see him. She's happy to see him. She's like, who are these roses for? He's like, of course it's for you, babe. Happy Valentine's Day. So we're seeing the softer side of Malcolm here and the love that he has for his wife, of course, his children. Malcolm definitely is a good man, a changed man. And at this point, he's definitely just trying to love on his children and love on his wife and, just really live that good life of family life. That's all he wants at this point. And he wants the civil rights for his people as well. So he goes in to see the children. The guard is outside, and there's a guy behind the guard. He knocks him out. And then this other guy comes and throws a bottle into the window. Who is it? It's that brother from the mosque in New Jersey. And come to find out, it was a firebomb that exploded the house. Thank God that Malcolm and everyone was in the back of the house, and they are not harmed at all. They're okay. Here we are at the Hotel Teresa, definitely a historic hotel in Harlem. And of course, Bumpy comes to see Malcolm, asks if he's okay, if Betty's okay, if everybody's okay. And of course, Bumpy's like, listen, man, I definitely got to protect you. Malcolm apologizes because, yeah, he did read in the newspaper that, yes, there was a bazooka that tried to make that attempt to assassinate them. And he says, yeah, we're both stubborn and everything else like that. But again, Bumpy's like, listen, I need to protect your life. Malcolm is like, listen, I'm going to die. I already have a feeling I'm going to die. Of course, Bumpy doesn't want him to talk like that. That's his friend from a long time. Malcolm has come to terms with the fact that he may die, but the mission must go on regardless. He is going to continue to fight for our people. So here we go. Stella gets a knock at the door. Who is it? It's Big Papa Chen. And he's looking like he's going to do something, but he doesn't. He's like, come in, and they hug and embrace. She starts crying, and he's like, it's okay, that you ratted on me. It's okay, I understand why you did it. And she's like, when did you get out? And he's like, today. And he's like, listen, it's time for you to come with me. So he's insisting on her leaving with him for her protection. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm okay. And of course, she's just like, insisted to him that, hey, I'm not going anywhere. He's like, listen, I need to find out who put a hit out on you. I know it's one of the bosses. And she's like, save your time. Listen, the person that did it was Tommy, and the person that sent the hit and requested it was your wife. Of course, he is surprised. Here we go with Wild Bill, and he's like, yo, what's going on? Why you not moving the product? He's like, listen, Bumpy had a distribution. I can only move 2. Bumpy can move a whole bunch. He's like, listen, I insist that you and Bumpy sit down together because this is a lucrative business in the cocaine business, and you guys need to settle things. And, Jose Battle's like, yeah, he screwed me. I'm like, Jose Battle, really? He didn't screw you. Bumpy never screwed you. And even Wild Bill knows that Bumpy never screwed him in business. But Jose Battle's lying like, yo, he's never screwed him. Really, Jose Battle screwed Bumpy. So Bumpy's like, listen, He's telling his fellas, hey, I want you to protect Malcolm, just kind of stay back a little bit, everything else like that. Of course, Pettigrew was like, listen, it's going to be hard. He's like, yo, you guys are the ones that's going to do it. Junie says there's visitors. Who is it? It is Omar and Elise. Now, of course, he's like, thank you for meeting me, and Bumpy's like, listen, my daughter vouched for you. And he's like, yo, the reason why you're still alive is because my daughter vouched for you. He said, listen, I think I know who put that hit and that firebomb in Malcolm's house. He's like, really, how do you know? He's like, yeah, the guy's out in New Jersey. And he's like, listen, I'm really concerned because your daughter is right by Malcolm's side and Malcolm knows that he's going to die. So, of course, Bumpy's like, yeah, I feel you on that. So here we go. We have a meeting with Jose Battle and Columbo, and Stella gives him a sugarless tea. She's sitting there, and it looks like Jose Battle has a problem with that. And, Columbo's like, listen, she works with me. You don't got to worry about it, okay? She's not your waitress. She works with me. So Jose Battle's like, listen, whatever we say stays in this place. I have an offer for you. Listen, it's time to get into the cocaine business. And, of course, Joe Columbo's like, listen, I offered you something great, and now you come to me with this. And Columbo's questioning, is there really an upside to the cocaine business? And of course, Stella's like, yeah, there was an upside. If Bumpy was involved, there's definitely an upside to the cocaine business. So he's like, listen, I got an offer you can't refuse, and we can make big deals happen, and we're part of something bigger, okay? So of course, he's talking about Wild Bill Harvey and his connection to the CIA. Of course, Columbo is thinking about it all. We'll see what happens. Chin calls Tommy to have a sit down. And Tommy's more than happy to see Chin. But with Chin standing over Tommy, you already know something crazy is going to happen. So he's like, listen, man, I want Joe Columbo out of the commission. Are you going to make it happen? You're going to back me up? He's like, of course. But he's like, listen, you put a hit out on my daughter. And he's like, how dare you? And Chin is like, shut up. Just shut up. Right? Did you put a hit out on my daughter? I know you did it. He's like, listen, she was going to rat on us and she's going to rat on my family. I had to do what I got to do. I'm sorry. He's like, all right, fine. So he grabs his hand. He's like, you still put a hit on my daughter. He's like, no, don't do this. Don't do this. And Tommy learns that Chin, who's taking the bag off? Of course. Wild Bill takes the bag off. She's like, what the hell? And he's like, yeah, you're Bumpy's daughter. And yeah, you used to be on the junk, but you kicked it. She's like, who the heck are you? He's like, it's not important. And he's warming up stuff and he's getting the junk ready. He's like, listen, I want you to send a message to Bumpy Johnson. And she's begging the guy next to her, please don't let him do this. Don't let him do this. It's always our own, right? So Wild Bill puts the junk in her veins and she's like, no, no, no. And poor Elise got the junk back in her veins. After all this time, all the work that she did to kick it, this guy, Bill Harvey, Wild Bill, puts the doogie back in her veins. Terrible. So now Malcolm is being told that he's going to miss his flight to Detroit. He's like, no, where's Elise? Elise needs to be here. He's like, listen, if you don't make it, you're going to miss your flight. So he has to do his speech in Detroit. Meanwhile, Bumpy tells Mamie that he's going to have to get back in the business and do some crazy stuff in order for them to get out of the game and to stay safe, because it's getting dangerous and he has to play the game in order to get out of it. So Bumpy gets a call and he tells the guys he's going to be right there, so he leaves out. Chin finally sits down with the commission, and who else is there? Jose Battle, Snake Rat Ass is there too. My God, right? So Chin is like, listen, I want Columbo out of the commission. I'm going to control Harlem again and everything. And of course, Columbo's like, yeah, whatever. Like Columbo doesn't care. He always has a thing up his sleeve. Tommy's like, he's going to back Chin, of course, with his no fingers. And Chin is like, yeah, I want this guy out of here. We're going to take back Harlem. There's no questions asked. And you guys are going to do this. You're going to do it right now. So, of course, Chin is coming back, trying to muscle his way through stuff. And, he's like, yeah, can I speak? And, of course, Columbo is on some like, listen, man, we got something better for you. We got Havana for you. And he's like, yeah, we can sell all the stuff, all the cocaine with Jose Battle down at the casinos and everything else like that. And, Of course, the exchanges that they do what they do as mobsters to, really, take people out. Of course, Chin is like, oh yeah, that's some real gangster stuff, right? It's like, yeah, that's real gangster for us to do stuff like that, right? And Chin is not buying. It's like, yeah, well, we got the government backing us. And Chin is like, nah, no, you don't. So here we go. Columbo says, hey, bring him in. Who walks in? Wild Bill walks in talking about, let me tell you what the government can do for you. So, of course, Chin is surprised that, yeah, they got the backing of the CIA. Meanwhile, back in Motor City, we see the Chrysler, we see General Motors. Shout out to my people in the D. And we see Malcolm doing his speech, and he's saying how he's going to continue with the movement. Meanwhile, back in Harlem, Bumpy is questioning the Muslim guy and asking him, hey, who put that hit out on Malcolm? He doesn't tell him. He slices him up. Malcolm is still doing a speech in Detroit and saying that his house was bombed and his little children were in there as well. These guys are putting Elise back in the car and taking her. And Chin rolls up on Columbo's spot, and Columbo's like, hey, what are we going to do? We going to duke it out? He's like, nah, it's not about that. I want my daughter. So here comes Stella. Back in Detroit, Malcolm is still making his speech. He says no matter what, he's going to continue on with the mission. Bumpy slices the guy up. He says, hey, who put the hit out? And the guy says it was a big white dude, big fat white dude. And of course, we know he's talking about Wild Bill. Bumpy slices him up and he's done. He got the information. And Malcolm says no matter what, he's going to do what he has to do. They drop Elise off in front of Bumpy's apartment building, man, right in front. She's all drugged out. Back at Columbo's spot, Stella comes and she stands by Columbo and tells Chin, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here with Columbo. That's right. Stella is in love with Columbo and she's standing right by his side. And of course, Chin is very disappointed in Stella, even more so. And Malcolm says, no matter what, the mission will be done for our people, for our civil rights. Of course, the people stand up. They give him a standing ovation. Malcolm is giving his great speech to bring everybody together for civil rights. Bumpy comes back and he sees Elise on the ground. They're like, oh my God, Elise. And at that very moment, he knows what he has to do. He goes back to Chin. He says, I reconsidered. Let's get back into business and let's take over Harlem. So that is the recap for episode 9 of Godfather of Harlem. Family, drop your comments below. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. I definitely thought it was a great episode. Another one. This is a great show, family. A lot of history of Harlem and everything, family. So definitely, if you're finding me for the first time, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and follow me on all my social media platforms as well, family. I appreciate you all for watching, and I hope this is entertaining. Definitely love this show. Definitely like this video. Definitely make some comments. Absolutely share. And make sure if you found me for the first time that you do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I drop the next Godfather of Harlem recap video. Family, I appreciate you all for watching. And if you love this video, like this video, definitely check out this next one right here. Until next time, salute.